Running locomotives from different countries on other railways always comes with its drawbacks. Sometimes problems come in the form of the loading gauge, the engines not having enough fuel capacity for the distances they're expected to travel, or simply just being incompatible with the railway's infrastructure, because the engine wasn't designed to run on it in the first place. There were, however, some locomotives that went off to work in different countries which not only worked well, but practically thrived there. In 1942, the United States Army Transportation Corps designed and ordered 382 S100 class tank engines for use as switches on railways across Europe. They arrived in the UK in 1943 and were sent to continental Europe in 1944 after D-Day. Their work, shunting and helping organise freight and goods led them to be scattered all over Europe. By the end of the war, they were being used in Austria, Britain, France, Greece, Italy, Yugoslavia, Palestine, Israel, Iraq, Iran, the Netherlands, and even as far as China. Their short wheelbase allowed them to negotiate some of the tightest curves, their tanks and bunkers gave them good range should they need to pull short-distance goods trains, and they could be easily converted to burn oil instead of coal. Their simple design and adaptability meant there were few railways where they couldn't work. After the war, while some were no longer needed and either scrapped or sent back to the US, many found a new life working as shunting engines in their respective countries. 77 were purchased by France's National Railway, 20 were acquired by Greece, 4 by Italy, 10 by Austria, 2 by China, and 15 by Southern Railways in England for dock work, with several more working in factories and coal mines up and down the country. The engines weren't by any means flawless though. While they were popular with footplate crews, it took some drivers a while to adapt to using the American-style controls, or the railways would have to spend money adapting the controls for use in their country. Their small bunkers meant that unless extra time was spent modifying them, they had to refill frequently. Another issue was the axle boxes overheating. While not much of an issue in slow-moving shunting yards, the axle boxes would get hot very quickly if the engine travelled for prolonged periods of time, meaning they could only be used on short journeys. And finally, while their short wheelbase made them ideal shunters, it also made them prone to swiveling at higher speeds, causing them to damage the rails if drivers weren't careful. As such, some railways took it upon themselves to build their own versions of the S100s. Yugoslavian railways built an additional 90 locomotives to go along with the S100s they already had. Poland built 437 engines with a similar design, with some of these ending up in China, Romania, and Hungary. Even the Great Western Railway in the UK built their own tank engines in a similar design, with limited success. All in all, despite having a few teething troubles, the S100s showed their worth not only as wartime necessities, but in the many duties they served outside of that as well. Over 100 of these engines still exist today, either preserved, stored, or laying derelict. Their widespread use throughout Europe truly allowed the design to show its worth despite being built in a different country for no specific railway in mind. The S100s then, even with their initial compatibility issues, are a prime example that, just because something doesn't exactly fit the bill, doesn't mean it won't get the job done. Subscribe for more.